Right.
Hey everybody!
Oh, hey guys.
Hi.
We're about to start this. Killcliff sure is delicious.
Yeah. Hi, Killcliff.
Oh gosh, it sure was tasty.
Here, have a sip of mine. Lean back like this. Oh.
Oh, that was good. All right, guys, thanks for being here. We're going to talk about some concepts based on relationship-based marketing, building the relationship with prospects before they come into your facility. Everything we're talking about today requires a long-term commitment, so there is no like start tomorrow and all of a sudden you get flooded with 9,000 leads in a day or you get super busy. I'm going to go through my 10 laws that I made of marketing. It's pretty much just me babbling for about a year, and I realized that I'd made 10 pretty cool points. So then I turned them into laws, because number one, if it's a law, it means it's legit. And if it's legit, then people will listen to you because it's a law, right? So if at any point you guys don't like this and you walk out, that's okay. We'll be okay. Nobody's walked out on me though, so we're going to survive this. I always tell everybody when we start, if this gets too boring, it's okay to leave. We'll be fine, but nobody ever leaves. I always just tell people I'm terrible at this. So the first thing we're going to talk about, and everything's based on the long-term game. There's no short-term game here. If you guys have questions throughout the thing, just raise your hand and shout them out, and we'll get them answered. But
you guys online, I'll try to read any questions if you guys type them in here.
Yeah, questions online, and JJ will keep me informed. Everything's about being informed. So my first thing I talk about, which is probably the most important thing because nobody ever does this, is you have to actually execute to do things. A lot of people have a lot of ideas and a lot of things that they want to do, and they talk about how they want to do things. Their phones are full of notes, but they never actually put those ideas into practice. So my big thing when you guys are done with this and when you go home or when you stay here or whatever you do is put at least one thing we talk about today into practice or start thinking about how to do something. So make an execution plan. And if you haven't actually designed or organized an execution plan, you can go to my blog and look at my 4 phases of strategic planning. And it breaks planning down into 4 distinct phases you can use to actually execute on your projects. So number 1, actually do stuff. Number 2 that I like to talk about is be consistent. So once this is the next problem that most people have with marketing is they start something and then they stop. They don't continue doing it. They're not consistent with it. So number 2 for when you leave today is make an execution plan to not only execute but be consistent with your execution. So it's important that when we start something, for example, a lot of people will make like a video for Facebook or start posting on Instagram. And then 3 days later, they never do it again. And then 6 months later, they start doing it. So we don't want to get into that roller coaster ride of non-consistency. We want to make sure when we start something, we're also consistent with it. And so what that means as well is making goals that you can actually achieve and obtain in terms of what you're doing with your marketing. So you don't want to say, I'm going to post to Facebook 5 times a day. I'm going to post to Instagram 900 times a day. I'm going to Twitter all the time because you know you're not going to do that. So we need to make realistic goals. So if I was going to make a good, consistent execution plan, and I wanted to start simple marketing, it would be I'm going to post stuff on Facebook 3 times a week, and then maybe Insta 3 times a week because I know I can accomplish that. And maybe I'm going to write 1 blog once a week because I know most normal humans can accomplish that in their busy lives. That's the other problem that we have. We're so busy that we forget to do this stuff. So once you actually execute, be consistent with what you're doing. Once we've established consistency, that's when we can really hit the ground running, when we can really get the ball rolling and have a really good long-term plan established. So my 3rd law of marketing, once you start doing stuff and you're executing, you're consistent with it, we need to pay attention to what our audience is saying. So a lot of the time, if you go to someone's Instagram or Facebook, or if they put out reviews or reports, they never respond or react or say anything to people who are talking to them. And people want to interact with you. They want to be involved with what you're doing, and they want to say stuff about you, whether it's good or bad. The important piece is that we listen to what they're saying. If you don't listen to what people are saying, you're never going to know how to react and respond and how to pivot shift based off what you're putting out. So once we're putting out good content, you're going to get feedback. And this is part of listening. So the feedback is going to be I really liked that, it was hilarious, or that was terrible, I thought it was stupid. Either way, you have to listen to it, you have to take it to heart, and then you have to adjust and modify based off the feedback you get from your audience. And when you get comments on your Facebook page, it's important to go in there and say, hey, thanks for the great comment. What do you think about this? Try to get a conversation generated with them So that way you're going back and forth, and you're starting to establish a certain amount of trust and comfort with these people, which is what we need. And when you actually talk to them, then they're going to feel more like they're connected to you and be more likely to continue engaging with you because you actually went back and forth when the brand down the street doesn't respond or react to anybody's comments. And you can see this stuff like you'll get Instagram comments, those are huge to go back and forth with. Facebook, you can go back and forth for a minute and say, hey, let's go to direct message and start talking to people in the direct message field, which moves them into your pipeline into like, hey, let's set up an intro session. And it's all just because you cared about it and you're commenting and paying attention. So whatever anybody says, pay attention to what they're saying. There's a few ways to listen that you guys can probably use on especially the social media networks like Facebook. You can use the search. So
where are you streaming this to?
On Chance Logic.
Chance Logic, okay.
So on Facebook, what I would do is search for like your gym name or search for your brand name so you can see what's going on, who's saying what, who's sharing your content, who's talking about it. So you can search by the name and you can search by the hashtag that you use. So you should have a hashtag that's associated with your gym name. Like ours is Stone Age Fuel. So we just search for Stone Age Fuel and we find it. If we're on like Instagram, you can do the same thing. You can search for the name, the hashtag, or the location. One thing I like, especially on Instagram right now, is you can go and search for 24-hour fitness as a location, and then you can see everybody who's checked in and posted pictures at 24-hour fitness. So then you go through there and you like and talk to those people who are going like low budget. So now you're pulling the networks of the giant facilities into your smaller network just by interacting with the people who are posting and liking their posts and stuff like that. So it's a huge way to get your brand out there on Instagram. And then if you're on like Twitter, it's the same. You do another search, a location search for your name, and you can see if people are talking about you on Twitter. You can see what they're saying about you. You can search the hashtags and the locations. So all of these are good places to just go on and listen. If you spend like 15 minutes a day just listening to what people are saying about your brand and your information and the stuff you're putting out, seeing people sharing your content, you're going to be a lot better off than if you have no idea. And you can do this with like, to see what other people are doing is if you have like competitors you want to check out, you can also search their names, their brands and all that stuff and get information about what they're doing. One thing I do say though about competitors is you shouldn't be reacting off of them. You should be creating the mold and making sure you're reacting off of you. If you're ahead of the game, you're going to be the one that they're kind of following and chasing. You know, it's going to be ahead of them. What was your question?
You said like, if you spend 15 minutes a day searching this stuff and, and seeing what's going on, how do you interact with people enough that it's effective? If you limit that to 15 minutes, that's where I have, because that's like, that can be a whole rabbit hole you can go down and get sucked in for hours.
Yeah, you can sit there for 7 hours doing this.
And I'll be quite frank on this, I'm not that Facebook, Twitter, Instagram world. It's not something I enjoy very much.
Yeah, so I think that's why I limit it to like 15 minutes because you don't want to spend 4 hours doing this. It's effective if you do this consistently and like every single day you're doing it, just repeatedly after like time after time after time.
But does it matter if you react to somebody shortly after they say something, post something, or does that not make a difference? Like if you pick that, 6 o'clock in the morning is my time I'm going to spend doing this, that interaction happens then, but they post at 4 or 5 in the afternoon. How effective is that?
It's going to be, so the most effective way to do it is comment like and talk back and forth right as soon as they do it because they're in front of their phones, they have in their faces. But it's also effective if you do it 12 hours later because you can't always be right next to your phone. Like number one, it'd be best to be like right on it within 2 seconds. But number two, if you can't make that happen, it's better to comment 12 hours later than not to comment at all. Because then they're going to see, they're going to see it either way. It's going to pop up in their things like, hey, Sanctified Fitness commented on your comment on the photo or whatever. And they're still going to see it and they're still going to go back and like it and talk back and forth. it's just more likely that they're going to have a conversation with you if it's right there and they're actually paying attention. But when you think about the way people operate, they're like, people are on their phones, like when they're walking, when they're driving, when they're pretty much people's faces are in their phones 24/7. So no matter what you do, you're going to get in front of them and they're going to see that little status update. And they're going to be like, oh man, Sanctify commented on my thing. And they're going to go and see what you guys said and how you operated with them. And they're going to feel special and cool because you went back and forth with them. So if you have like 15 minutes at 6 in the morning to do all the comments and go back and forth, that's good. Even better if you can do it like right then and there, but that's not always an option. So the best case scenario is just that the fact that you are going back and forth with them and you're consistent with that. And over time, the big thing here is making them feel special because they need to know that it's not the number of followers that matter on like your channels and all that. It's number one, how many people are engaged with you, like who's talking, how much are they paying attention to it, and how involved are they with your brand, and how special does your brand make them feel. So it's better to have one really special follower than like 100,000 who aren't engaged. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Does it make a difference then on the age of the, like, do you know, like, I don't know how to ask this very well, maybe demographically, like, like Josh is about 30, I'm almost 50.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is there some things that are more effective for reaching certain different audiences than others? In terms of social media?
Yeah, it depends on what if your audience is 35 to 55 or whatever you break it into, you have to know who your audience is, then you have to know the personality behind your brand, and you have to know how to exhibit that personality to the people so they like it and they understand it and they feel connected to it. But the big thing is you need to showcase like humanity. Everybody sees the person doing like a 900-pound thruster with six-pack abs, and that's not realistic for the average person. They see that and they're like, that's crazy, I'm not doing that, I can never do that in my life. But if you show a picture of a guy who's like slightly overweight but sweating, having a good time and smiling, and then someone's like standing over them and clapping and encouraging, like that's humanity, that's realistic, and that they feel like they can come in, they can be connected to that, and they feel like that's something they can do. So when you're marketing and stuff, the public outside of our CrossFit and fitness community doesn't care about how much you snatch and clean and jerk and all that stuff. What they care about is that they feel comfortable going in. They don't feel like they're going to get judged. They don't feel like it's a community of crazy people with their shirts off and big pecs. They want to feel like everybody there is like maybe slightly overweight or trying to get past some sort of hurdle or problem. If you can show them that you have that, then they feel connected and they're going to want it. That's why Planet Fitness does so well. They just showcase everything they do for the regular Joe. Like they say it's okay to eat pizza, it's okay to have Tootsie Rolls sometimes. The regular person off the street feels like that's something that that connects with them because that's what they want to do. They want to feel like they can be comfortable and they don't have to be comfortable. Does that make sense? So if you have like the 35-year-old guy who's an accountant who sits at a desk all day and kind of hates his life, super stressed out, you want to showcase the fact that you're fun, you're going to get through like his shoulder problems and pains he's experiencing, you're a good place for his family and that kind of stuff. Oh yeah, so the question was, how do you get your content in front of people?
The right people.
Yeah, the right people to consume your content. How do you know they're consuming it? And so the answer to that for me is you have to, number one, you're putting it out to speak to them. So you've already organized it in a way that they're going to consume it. And then number two is you want to run like Facebook ads to it. So if it's on Facebook, you want to run like 35 to 55 to the accountant, to the guy who has a family who makes like $70K a year. So you can really target it and put the demographics pretty specific to the actual person that you want to see that video. So that's probably the best way to do it. I would say Facebook's the best bet. You can set up a lot of people say they're Facebook marketing experts and stuff like that, but it's not really that difficult. Like laser targeting that you see people say, all that means is they went in there and set up some like parameters. So it's easy for people, you could go in there and set up like a boost and then set that to go to people who are 35 and older and then set that to go to accountants and then set that to go to your city within like 5 miles of your business. And then that's what they say when they say like laser targeting and they're trying to sell you stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's the sky's the limit with how close you want to connect with people and how the specific person you want to see that. You can get it down to like the household now.
not to fog all the questions, but here's another one for you then. So if you're creating content for, say you have a specific, like I'm looking at a certain kind of gym or a certain demographic, that kind of thing, if I'm looking to target that, and you create some content for them, how does how long or how short should that content be so that they don't just get bored with it and leave?
So the way there's two ways to think about content. There's the short-term game, which is like 30 seconds or less because you're going to lose their attention. They don't care about you. But then there's the long-term game. So if you're like interacting with people regularly and they know you have good content, they're expecting it, they'll watch up to a 25-minute video that you put out. But I would say, like on average, when you first start doing this, I would keep my videos between 1 and 5 minutes. You're going to lose people after about 45 seconds at the beginning. They're just scrolling through their phones and they're watching your video, and then a cat video pops up. The cat video is better than your video, so now they're watching a cat video. So that's when you lose their attention span. So I try to
unless your video has cats in it.
Yeah, there you go. So if you can get a video and you have a cat and you're dancing and stuff, they're going to be more likely to engage with it. We'll talk about that in the pillars of great content. But yeah, keep it between like 1 to 5 minutes at the beginning. If you guys like, I put out a piece of content up just about every day on my Chance Logic thing, and some of them are like 1 minute, some of them are 5 minutes, some of them are like a 25-minute podcast. So there's different variations of content that people will consume. The longer it gets, the more likely it is they need to be distracted while they're doing it. So if it's like a video, you're going to be in the 1 minute range. If it's a podcast, you can probably get in the 20-minute range. If it's like those are pretty much your two things. Audio format is going to be, you can get longer stuff with audio because they can be distracted while doing it. Because like you guys can listen to a podcast while driving. You can't really watch a video while driving, though people do it. You probably shouldn't. You might die in a car crash. But you can do a podcast while driving because you can be distracted and do all kinds of stuff while doing a podcast. So does that answer it? And I would say just for the start, though, for the beginner, it's like 1 to 5 minutes is a perfect time for a video. Video is shorter, audio can be longer. That's why we're seeing a lot more people are engaged with audio right now. So right now is like a prime time to start with a podcast. No gym does a podcast, but all of you members do it. Because they can listen to it while driving to work, while coming home from work, while going to the gym. They can be distracted while doing it. And people want to do things while they're doing other things. So if you give them that opportunity,
Nigel's asking on the MadLab forum, hey guys, do you feel that paying for marketing on Facebook is the only way to get out to the masses?
I think it's, so the way I look at it in terms of like, what is our most efficient parameter to get in front of people and what's the most cost-effective way? And right now, the most cost-effective way to get in front of people is Facebook. It's going to be your cheapest opportunity to advertise, and it's going to be your easiest opportunity to advertise.
And you can get the right people, right?
Yeah, and you can target the right people, you can get in front of the right people. To do that with like direct mail and print and all kinds of stuff like that is probably not going to be as cost effective. So I think Facebook's your biggest opportunity. The other opportunity to get in front of people is local business development. So I always tell people, pick like 5 businesses a month that you want to go talk to and establish a relationship with. You go in there, you're not going to say, hey, my name's so-and-so, I want you to come to my gym. You're going to go into business, you're going to buy their products, like if it's a coffee shop, you're going to go in there, you're going to drink their coffee, you're going to get to know every single one of their employees' names, and you want them to know, all of them to know your name as well. And then after doing this for a period of like a month, they're going to start interacting with you and talking with you, and that's when you can say, hey, I want to do a coffee tasting at the gym. Would you be interested in inviting your base to come down, post it on your Facebook and stuff, and do a little workshop together? Those are the kind of ways you can get in front of the masses in addition to Facebook, and that's like local business development. So how do I get other businesses to want to work with me, and how do I develop a network of businesses? And that's build a relationship with these people. And if you pick 5 a month, within 6 months, you'll have 15 businesses that you're flowing back and forth with, and you guys are all doing business together. You're doing workshops. Say you have like a local physical therapist who you have a relationship with. Now you say, hey, we have this fundamentals program that we think would be great post-physical therapy for people to actually go into and flow and not go back to their regular lives. So the PT will now throw people into your fundamentals program, and you have this cool little like, pathway that you're doing. And the way you establish that is like you go and you talk to the PT, you sit on some of their appointments, you hang out, you invite them to come to your place, then you do a workshop together. So that's building relationships with the local businesses. I think that should be your number 2 thing outside of like content on social media. Hopefully that answered your question, Nigel.
Yeah. I mean, so that also depends on your audience. So how much you're going to spend is really how tight you make your audience and stuff. And every gym's going to be a little bit different on their budgets.
Yeah. I always tell gyms a good start is just put like $5 a day into the content you produce. And then maybe put another $5 that goes into like a call to action that goes to the same audience that runs. So you're putting $10 a day into your marketing, which is pretty easy to budget for most gyms. Like right now, I think we have daily content that goes out for about $5 a day, and then we have two call to actions running at the same time to see which one's better at $10 a day. But the big thing is like your call to actions aren't going to work if you don't have any sort of content being produced that's going to build a relationship with people. It's how you get like highly qualified leads to come in versus like those like challenges. When you get 140 leads, but only like 7 of them are good. That's just like marketing straight to cold people. But if you build that relationship first via your content, and then you ask them to come, then you get the people who really care about what you really want. So, my fourth law is what I was just talking about. You want to build a culture of caring. You not only want we obviously care about our brand. We think it's the best thing in the world, right? Hopefully everyone does. So you want the people watching you and paying attention to really care about what you're doing, and you want them to know that you care. And so you do that by being super appreciative and what they like. If someone comments, we were talking about earlier on your social media, you can comment back, say, hey, thanks so much for the comment. And then you go back and forth, you ask them a question. You wanted to really showcase the fact that you care about them and you care about the fact that they're paying attention to what you're doing. People like to be appreciated, and if we show them we appreciate them in all of our content we put out, the responses we put out, the information we put out, like your videos at the end, hey, thanks so much for watching my video. I really appreciate the time you took out of your day to watch what I'm doing. That kind of stuff just builds that culture of caring with the people paying attention to you. And then in addition to that, we need to build a culture of caring around our staff. I always tell people your staff should be more important to you than your customers, because your staff are the ones that are going to portray this culture of caring to your customers. If your staff aren't happy and they don't care and they don't understand the business, then your customers have no chance of understanding the business. So you have to sit down with all of your staff members. We do this with a lot of our marketing people we work with, but you have to sit down with your staff members. You have to identify what their strengths are and what their weaknesses are. And then you have to kind of identify what their personalities are. And so what this does is, when you look at the culture in your business, a lot of people don't understand how to build culture, or what the culture is, or what makes it different. So I have this thing I use with affiliates. It's tell me what your community, explain your community to me without saying we have a great community. And then most people can't figure it out because they don't understand what the actual community aspect is that they have specifically. So what we do is we identify this with our staff, because they're the ones who are going to portray this to the members. They're going to be the ones who are commenting on social media, going and doing the local media development. They're essentially the gateway to the consumer to consume your products. And so we have to say, what are they good at? And we have to look at this from 2 parameters. What are they good at in terms of like stuff in the gym and then outside the gym? Because we have to appeal to our current members and appeal to people out that aren't in the gym yet. So we need to understand, what are you good at outside? What are your lifestyle things? What do you do that you really enjoy? Like, do you like to ski? Do you like to do you play basketball? Do you swim? What do you do outside the gym that's fun that you can help other people with? And what do you do in the gym that your members can appreciate? And then what are your weaknesses? So what are we not good at? And then what is our personality? So are you a funny coach? Are you a serious coach? Are you a jerk? Are you whatever your personality is? We need to identify that as well, because then you can take the personalities of each of your staff and you can combine that with strengths and then create pretty cool little segments. So we have a segment we call Minute the Interns, and it's just our interns dancing around and like crazy people. But it's one of our most popular segments because it plays into their personality. They're funny and they're fun. And we have another segment we call Healthy Tales with Dale, because he goes and he starts talking, and then 27 minutes later he's done talking. So everybody in the gym calls it a Dale Tale. So his segment is him just talking about nutrition, because that's his favorite thing to talk about. And we have another one called the Mental Health Man with Michaela because she's super interested in like mental health and she went to school for all that stuff. So she talks about the mental aspect of things. And hers is like the psychology stuff, like why do you feel this way? That's what she's passionate about. And that's another thing, like we'll talk about in a second, it's leverage your strengths. It's what are you passionate about? We need to define that and we need to combine that with your personality because now when you make content, you're going to be really good at that specific piece of content because you actually care about it. You don't want to go in there and talk about like the deadlift if you don't care about the deadlift. You want to talk about the specific things you're good at and that you're passionate about because it's going to be easy to make videos and write blogs about that stuff. And then if each one of your staff members is specifically creating content that they're good at and that they like, that plays in their personalities, now you have like 3, 4, 5, 6 different unique pieces coming out each week that each person is responsible for. Any questions on that? That's all exciting. And when this turns into a machine, it's pretty neat to see. You guys can follow some of the gyms we do. We actually did Oak Strength. We sat down with you guys.
Yeah.
We're organizing that.
Yeah,
we have like 900 gyms to go through. But a couple we work with, like my gym, Stone Age Fuel does it, Treehouse Athletics, Dave's gym, CrossFit Cambridgeshire is really good, so you can watch like the play of content that's going on. What else? CrossFit Bastion, those guys, they're amazing. But so that's the build a culture of caring. So if you want to identify your culture, you have to understand your employees, what they're good at, what their personalities are, what their strengths and their weaknesses are. Then you can display the culture of your business to everybody else because those are the gateway to the people. So next law is focus on where the attention is at. And so when we look at this, you have to know what your program is. So attention is really big. You have to go to where the people are. Because of the advent of things like social media, you can now go find people. You don't have to just put out like a newspaper ad and hope people see it or a radio ad and get some algorithm that you hope people see. So you have to look at your programs. Like who are you targeting? Are you targeting like adults? If you're targeting like adults, and does everybody here does fundamentals? Okay. Sometimes I do talks and I forget not everybody's a Mad Lab gym, so I have to go and like display all the other things. Do you have a question?
Yeah. Number 5.
Number 5. Did I skip it? Oh, you guys, I skipped it. Okay, we'll go back to number 5 in a second.
Right.
So adults. So if you have like the typical fundamentals crowd, they're adults, they're probably working professionals, or they're just like out of college with a good career or something like that. They can afford our programs. You're probably looking at, like, obviously Facebook is your biggest parameter for them and Instagram. Those are probably your 2 biggest platforms for the standard adult. The other one is YouTube. So the difference between these 2 is this is where you're going to go find them. This one is searchable. So if you're putting videos on YouTube and you're captioning those videos and you're putting like your city name in the title and stuff like that, that's going to show up on search results in Google. And if you do that, if you search for videos in your local city, not a lot of gyms are actually doing that. So when it pops up and they see all of your videos and stuff, that's huge because now you own the video market on the Google. Instagram's starting to show up on search, so you can actually find some of the pictures, which is pretty neat. So if you've been doing Instagram for a while, they'll show up. But these are the big ones to where like the standard adult and fundamentals attention is going to be devoted to. So you can put your videos directly on Facebook, directly on YouTube, and then if you have a shorter video, because Instagram only allows a minute, you put the minute up and then you put link in bio to see the full video, and you put the Facebook or the YouTube link in your bio and they can go out to see it. Now, if you have like a teens program, you're probably looking at Snapchat and probably Twitter. Twitter is really big with the high school kids, and Snapchat's big with anybody under 27. The kids tell me, I ask them about Instagram all the time in stories, and the kids tell me, well, Instagram stories is Snapchat for old people, and I'm not doing that. So the kids are still on Snap. It's super niche, so they're still going to stay there. They're still snapping back and forth. So the cool thing about Snap is the kids will follow you. They'll pay attention to your content. And now you can put a link in your Snapchat stories. So you can put a link in there and say, slide up to check us out. They can slide up and fill out your forms and all that right on Snap, which made it a lot easier to do call to actions. What we do with our Snap is you either Snap, you like give it to one of your coaches who manages the team program, and they watch it, or you just give it to one of the kids and say, hey, your responsibility is Snap today. And then they'll go through and make an out-of-control Snapchat. You just tell them, like, don't show, like, nakedness and don't be stupid because they're high school kids. And we had a high school kid one. This was on his own Instagram. He did a 7-minute Instagram live of him chewing gum. And that was it. You have to give them some parameters. Because they'll do stuff like that. They're teens, they like to have fun, they like to mess around. But if you give them good parameters and you give them the responsibility, they're pretty pumped to do it, and they make pretty interesting snap stories. So then Twitter is big for the high school kids as well. So if you're on Twitter and you're paying attention, you'll notice that when you tweet something and you tag your kids in it, they'll retweet it, they'll comment back and forth, they'll talk about it. So we're seeing a huge resurgence in Twitter in terms of like high school kids. They're all over it. You can go to the high school and map out the specific high school, and you can actually see what the different like Twitter personalities in high school are. They organize Twitter fights and all kinds of crazy stuff on there. Like the school police map it out, everything because it's so popular. So if you do have a teens program, these are going to be your two top ones. Instagram as well, but most of their attention is devoted to Snap. Any questions? Good times.
And then I'm sorry with the teen stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, you're still trying to play both games though, right? Because the parents pay.
Yeah. So what you want to do, and what usually happens is they see this a million times, and their friends start following you. Their friends start paying attention to your snaps, and then they start begging their parents to bring them in. And then the parent will show up and be like, "He's been asking me to do this for 6 months, and I finally gave in." So you're essentially like marketing to the kids to tell their parents to bring them in. And then at the same time, if you want to put this stuff here, because then the parents are going to see it. But it's more likely that, is anybody in here a parent? Yeah, so it's more likely that if little Johnny is over there saying, "Dad, I really want to do this," and he asks you 975 times every day, you're finally going to give it and go do it versus
No, he would have been spanked 974 times.
I like that. So that's kind of how the kids operate. This stuff is good, especially Instagram, because kids won't tag their parents. They usually block their parents. But the parents will see it. Any other questions? Okay, so we'll go back to number 5 since I skipped it. 5 is play the long-term game, and that builds into execution and consistency. So when you start this and you start putting these content pieces out and all this information out and start with the local business development, you're essentially organizing a plan of action to be beneficial in the next 12, 24, 36 months. So we're looking at this from a long-term perspective.
I was going to say hours.
Yeah, next 12 hours. So we're looking at this from the long-term perspective. The goal isn't to get something like tomorrow or the next day, it's going to start working a month or 2 from now, but you're going to see the really big results and the really big growth of your brand, and the community who's paying attention to you is going to start saying stuff like a year from now. And that's why we have to be consistent and execute when we're playing the long-term game, because the only way that you can do shotgun marketing is to do like those 6-week challenges and stuff like that, where you get a flood of people, but it may not necessarily be the best people, but then you have to do it again and again and again. There's nothing wrong with the challenges. The problem is the more you do it, the less likely it is it's going to be effective, because people start becoming numb to those ads. So if you have like the challenges and stuff running in conjunction with all this content, in conjunction with this long-term game, now you have a verifiable strategy that's going to actually be successful long-term, and you can continue to do it. So we're playing the indefinite game like JJ was talking about a second ago. Does that make sense? So then the next one I talk about, and we talked about this when we talked about your coaches and figuring out what their strengths are, is leverage your strengths. I tell people all the time, when we think about doing stuff we're not good at, it's frustrating. Especially if you tell your coaches to do stuff they're not good at, they're frustrated, they're not going to do it, and then you're going to have to be the one that nags them to do it all the time. I always tell people, focus on what you're good at and have them pursue that 100%. Don't have them worry about what they're not good at. Like if you tell a coach to do a video and it takes them 35 hours, that's probably not going to be a consistent strategy you can maintain. So, but if you tell your coach, like, what do you want to do? What do you like to do? Do you like to do videos? Do you like to write blogs? Like, what are you good at? And if they say, "Oh, I can do a 1-minute video easy, but I can't write blogs. I hate blogs." So then all their responsibility is to make a video. They'll make really good videos. They're not going to struggle with it. They're actually going to get it done, and you're not going to have to nag them to do it. The way I operate, Steph's not here, but she's like she's like this tall, just maybe like this tall. But she does a lot of like the back end stuff for us, and she's really good at it. I don't mess with it because it'll take me hours to figure it out. Versus I can go on there and create strategies, get the coaches motivated, moving, get the content pushed out, make the ads and all that stuff. And that's what I'm good at. It would frustrate her if she had to do it. So think about what are your coaches good at, what do they like to do, and then organize everything around that and their personalities and all that information. So there's different ways the different ways people consume content. Some people read, some people listen, and some people watch. So if you're capturing people in all of these parameters, you're getting them in the different ways people learn and consume content. So they read blogs, they listen to podcasts, and they watch videos. So if you're hitting all those parameters, you're capturing the attention where you need to capture the attention at in the way that people want to consume it. And there's different ways to do this. So maybe you have a coach who makes a video. So you have a video, and I do this on my stuff. They make a video. Now you're like, well, that's a pretty good video. Let's turn this into a blog. So then you transcribe that video into a blog. And now you turn that video also into like a podcast. So now you've taken that one piece of content, you've created two different pieces out of that in ways other people can consume that content. Like a lot of the time I'll make a video and I'm like, all right, this video was pretty good, it got a lot of engagement, let's turn this into a blog. So I'll take the file, I'll transcribe it, and then I'll turn that into a blog, and then I'll take that video and turn it into a podcast, and it's as an audio file, so that way you capture it all over the place. And if you had say if you have 3 coaches doing this, then you have one coach producing 1, 2, 3 pieces of content each, and now all of a sudden your gym has 27 pieces coming out of different ways. So you don't have to necessarily do this, but it's a good strategy. It's how you can kind of re-engage and reuse content that you have that you want other people to see in different ways that they would consume it. Makes sense?
Is the best way to transcribe just upload it to YouTube and get the transcription from there?
So
it's free.
Transcribing, that's probably the free, easy way, because you can go on YouTube, you just set up the file, once you transcribe it, you download the SRT file or whatever file you want to use, and then you just go and you remove the timings and all that stuff, and you have a file. There's a program that I use, it costs money, it's called Trent, something like that. But it'll take the whole file and it'll transcribe it into an actual blog for you. So you don't have to remove the video files and all that.
There's a sort of software that I heard about recently that I haven't looked into. I've been meaning to talk to you about it. It'll actually take any YouTube or any file and make it into an audio file for upload as a podcast or SoundCloud. It's like a $20 one-time purchase, and you can do literally hours of YouTube videos in minutes. And then so if you want it, for people who want to listen, but for us, it might be really good to make a really easy upload.
How is that with quality of audio? From YouTube to podcasts.
To podcast. It's all my podcasts are transcribed from videos. It doesn't mess with the audio. If you're worried about the audio, just get a good mic, and it should be okay converting. You can even put your video on iMovie and then convert and have it just go straight to an audio file, so you don't lose a lot of quality of conversion process. I have a couple of the mics we use over here, but this one, if you're making your own videos, it's a lapel mic, so you just connect this on. There's 2 ways you can use one of these mics. You can either connect it to your shirt and connect it to your phone while it's recording, or you can have one device recording and have this connected to something just recording the audio, and then you splice the audio onto the video. That's a little bit more of a pain in the ass to deal with. So if I'm going to be far away, I'll usually use my little mic. It's somewhere around here. Oh, this one. This is a blue mic. It's just micy. If you're where you guys are, I can plug this into my phone and it'll pick up the audio and catch things pretty easily. These are nice. You can go to blue.com. I think it's Blue Mics. I think it was $120. The cool thing about it, though, is you can have a team recording. You can record people from far away. You don't have to worry about being connected to a lapel, and you don't have to splice audio. Does that make sense? Any other questions on that part? All right, so we're at the last 3. I didn't forget anything else, did I? So these are actually the first things I created. Somehow I made them the last 3. So that's exciting. So these are the pillars of great content is what I talk about. So this is, when you think about the way people live their lives, the way their lives operate, they have to wake up, they have to get the kids ready for school, and the kids probably don't want to wear pants that day or something, or they're fighting with them for some sort of problem. So now they're stressed out. And then they have to take them to school, and they have to go to work. They're probably late for work, and they're rushing around all day. They come to the gym, they're probably late for the gym too, so they're continuously stressed throughout the day, and people's lives they're just I can't take this anymore. They're always in a stress state. So we want to produce content in a way that not only makes them happy, but it gets them excited and it gives them that little freedom, just not only in the gym, because we always say the gym should be the best hour of their day, but now they're looking forward to watching your videos, reading your blogs, because it makes them feel better about themselves and makes them feel better about their day and gets them away for a minute. So that's the foundation behind the pillars of great content. What they are is we need to inspire people or motivate them. So with our content, there's a couple ways to do this. If you have a coach who is really like motivational and the guy who's always making people happy or wears the heart on their sleeve, that's the motivational coach. That's the one who should be doing these videos, because they're going to display that passion to the people and they're going to want to consume and feel connected to it. So if you inspire and motivate people with your content, just talking about like how they can live a better life, we know you're stressed, this is how to deal with stress, this is what it's like to be happy, this is why you need to focus on you first and stuff like that. We're going to make them feel better about themselves, and in return, that establishes comfort with us as a brand because they feel connected to you. They feel like you're speaking directly to them when you do that kind of stuff. So that's the inspire people, motivate them, inspire them through your content. This can be like videos you put out. You can make a picture with like a little quote on it. You can make a blog that's a motivational story. I think videos are the biggest. Videos and probably pictures are the biggest and easiest ways to connect, especially videos, because they see an actual person talking. And when you see a person in front of you talking, whether it's on Facebook or in real life, you just feel more connected because you can actually see like the flesh and the person going back and forth and the emotions coming out of that person. The next one is this should not say motivate people. I wrote the same thing, everybody.
Real quick, that app for converting things into audio, Softorino, YouTube Converter 2.
We'll have to check it out.
Yeah, it automatically converts any SoundCloud, YouTube, anything in minutes to an audio file, an MP3 file that you can automatically upload to iTunes or anything else.
Right off of YouTube?
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
It's Softorino, Soft O-R-I-N-O. Softorino.
All right, so next one is educate people. So the pillars of great content, what we see often is you see a video and there's a guy standing there and he's like, my name's Johnny, and today we're going to go over a thruster. And then he does the thruster, and it's the end of the video, but it's the most boring thing you've ever seen in your entire life, which we want to be a little bit more exciting in what we do. And you have to think about your customers or the people watching it, too.
Put the guy in a T-Rex costume,
and that'll be
gold.
Yeah, I watched this whole video, T-Rex Tuesdays.
T-Rex Tuesdays.
Yes.
So when you think about that kind of stuff and you watch what everybody in your community is doing, every single gym is doing tips on, like, pull-ups. Every single gym's doing tips on cleans. Every single gym's doing tips on the press. Every single gym's doing tips on the deadlift. So we need to be different in what we put out because people are immune to that. They don't care. And plus, the public is just give you a pull-up and they don't understand it, or a clean and they're like, "That's scary."
Well, we're trying to differentiate ourselves from these gyms, right? If you're just teaching people how to move, it's like, well, why am I paying you to go to your gym then? Like,
yeah,
to teach you to go have awesome lives.
That's right. So we're trying to educate people, inspire people. Number one, so that creates differentiation because no one else is doing those like feel-good videos and feel-good blogs and making people happy about themselves. Then we need to educate people, and you need to look at this from the people consuming your content's point of view. So, what are they struggling with? Why isn't their life where they want it to be? And how can you help make it a little better? So maybe that's like, hey, here's a video on how to read a menu at a restaurant. So I did a Facebook Live the other day, and I went through the entire menu at the Cheesecake Factory, and we talked through it, and we had fun, and I told them, like, oh my God, this is the paradox of choice. There's 9,000 choices. I don't know what to do with myself. Don't pick the cheesecake, but I want the cheesecake. And so you just do a fun video like that, going through the whole menu at the Cheesecake Factory with all the staff like talking and going back and forth, and then people watch that kind of stuff. Or make a video like, hey, here's some tips on eating healthy while you're on the go. Here's some tips on eating healthy at the airport. Here's some ways to alleviate that shoulder pain you get from sitting at a desk all day. So you have to think about, like, what are their big problems? What are their pains? What are their emotional struggles? And how can we react and respond to that so it feels like we're speaking directly to them when we educate them? Does that make sense? Number 3 is make people laugh. So often what we'll do, and once you get good at this, all this stuff will be combined into one piece. Like you're inspiring, educational, but funny at the same time. But you can put this into 3 different segments. So you need to make people laugh. Like T-Rex Tuesdays is funny because it's not something you're used to seeing very often. Minute with the interns we do is funny because it's not something people are used to seeing. We have a coach, RJ, who just jumps on screen and says, welcome to Minute with the Interns. And Then he starts psychobabbling about nothing, but it's funny because he's loud and he's running in circles, and then he does a backflip in a grocery store. And
I saw that one.
that was a real video. He starts talking. He's on the grocery talking about what they're eating or something, and then he starts talking about how he likes cheesecake. And then at the end, he's like, "Gains," and then he does a backflip and puts his knee on the ground. So that's funny. It's stuff people aren't used to seeing. It's entertaining, so we have to entertain.
I would recommend next time he does a backflip in the beginning of the video.
Or off the shopping cart.
Yeah, because then people will they'll stay engaged. I think you're the one that told me that. Like, don't make the first 3 seconds of your video can't be boring. It's got to be something that grabs people's attention. Like, if you have an 8-second bumper.
Yeah, I know.
Professional.
Yeah, if you have bumpers, put it at the end, but not the beginning. If you're going to watch the bumper and just immediately leave the video. So just think about when you put everything out, it should follow these pillars of great content parameters. So when you organize your content calendar, you define strengths, personalities, and weaknesses, and everybody has their piece they're putting out. Just look at it and say, okay, something inspiring, is something educational, is something funny. You have a combination of this, and what's the level of each piece that we have. And once you understand and outline that, you're going to have a pretty unique content calendar that people want to pay attention to. Like ours is it's unique. So we have like the minute with the interns. We have Healthy Tales with Dale. We have the Mental Health Minute with Michaela. So we have all these like unique pieces. Then we do a Facebook Live, usually once a week. So it gives us like 4 literal unique pieces of content that we put out every week. Plus we have 3 to 5 blogs that go out a week. Because we started using Emily's blog service in addition to our stuff. So it gives us just a ton of content that is always flowing out. And if we want to produce more blogs, we can transcribe some of these videos. Minute with the Interns would make no sense as a blog, but we transcribe like Healthy Tales and the Mental Health Minute because those are 2 pretty educational pieces. Any questions? That about wraps everything up. Yeah.
I just have a hard time with putting content out just to put content out versus like wanting it to be like a staple that people flow through. What's your advice as to like balancing that?
So the way we do it, you want something that people like expect and they want to come back and see, right? So what we do, and that's why we organize it in segments. We give names. So it's like Minute with the Interns, episode like 001, episode 2, 3, 4. Like we're on like episode 25 of this, and people actually wait for it and look out for it, and they want to watch it. So turn it into, it's like you're organizing a story you're going to continuously tell into a mini-series. So everything has an episode. It's not just.
And then if somebody jumps in at like number 11, they go back and watch the first 10. It's hilarious. Yeah.
And then you make it playlists in YouTube and playlists in Facebook, so now they can go back and watch everything. So you make it episodes, because now that it's an episode and it has a name, they know you're telling a continuous story over time, and they're going to want to tune in every week when it comes out. So you can even say like, be sure you're paying attention to next week, Wednesday at 10 a.m., because the next episode of Healthy Tales is going to drop. And then they know they're on a schedule, and they'll pay attention to it. They'll go back and find it. They'll search for it. We have someone who walked in the gym the other day who was like, I was on Instagram, and I saw a Minute with the Interns, and I had to come in and see you guys. So they'll pay attention to it. They'll watch it. And if you give it a name and a story, it's going to be a mini-series. People like stories, and they want to continue the story. That's why things like Game of Thrones is so popular. People want that story, and there's characters you feel attached to, all of that, and they have names. So the more you can make it like a story, the more likely it is they're going to follow it and actually want to tune in.
So chop off a few heads too.
Yeah.
It's a naked
T-Rex Tuesdays. Chop
Well, I'm curious, because something that I've run into is with zero experience in marketing, but I've recently put out a podcast on episodes in, and then I run into times when like anybody I'm trying to work with is unavailable, and so considered kind of playing with the notion of like putting out my own, shorter episodes, doing stuff like that, and building content around a lot of things like the Barbell Shrug guys have done. They have their constant, rolling with that and making it, like you're talking about, something regular, but trying not to build that too much and then, lose from one point and like take content away from the podcast and put it in a video format or something like that, trying to keep it, spread both efficiently and consistently over all the platforms, and then, where to hook people on that so that they are like, oh, yeah, there's now a video minute for them too every week that I want to check out, but the podcast is out every Friday, so I definitely want to listen.
Yeah.
Come in with kind of how would you, if you look at that from a bigger picture, okay, here's all these pieces of this, put it
Yeah.
together so that it attracts the most attention.
Yeah, what I would do, like specifically with the podcast, how you would distribute that to
Yeah.
different spots. So what I would do is if I had a podcast, this is something I do. So with the podcast, if I want to turn that podcast into several other different pieces of content, I would record a video of the podcast. And then I would take that video and I would cut it into like 3 to 5 different like clips. And then I would distribute those clips to like Facebook, Instagram, and all those things. So now I took a podcast that's maybe 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I created a whole video out of it, so you can put that video on YouTube. And then I created 3 to 5 different clips off of that podcast of different topics I talked about. And now I have content for Facebook and Instagram on it.
Yeah.
So that's just me distributing your big piece into smaller pieces and smaller chunks.
Right.
Different avenues. Does that answer it?
Yeah, no, it's cool. And I've played with like making teasers,
Mm-hmm.
Just something that attracts people that 5-second of video, they're like, oh, cool, what's this coming out?
Yeah.
And then it's check out the episode for, to see the rest.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, I haven't had enough consistency with it yet to figure out whether or not that goes.
Yeah.
But,
And the last way you can get that and make sure people are paying attention is
yeah,
a newsletter. So you put in your newsletter, like, hey, check out episode 1 of Health Details.
Yeah.
Check out episode 1 of Mental Health Minute. Check out all of these different episodes and these different
Yeah.
pieces. And then you can push them out to your content. And then reminders like, hey, don't forget, the next podcast drops next week.
Yeah.
We're going to do this one on Facebook Live or whatever. So they're always conscious and aware.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is, like, when you think about where people are paying attention the most, they're all over the place. So, like, a lot of your membership's going to be on Facebook. Some of them are going to be on Insta. Some of them are on Snap, and then all the other things. And some of them are on, like, email. They're not on anything else. So if we can leverage these plus this and use this to go back to these, then you're going to be essentially allow them to see the stuff that they're not on.
Right. The only thing with email is you get a lot of those. I know personally, I ended up subscribed to like 12 of those and just delete. Like, holy crap, I can't take any more of these emails.
Yeah, definitely. I think emails, like, it's important, but it's definitely lost its flair. I mean, people like my email every morning. I wake up and there's 150 emails.
Yeah.
So you just like mass delete everything.
Yeah.
And then you actually delete something you need. You have to go search in your trash.
Yeah. So.
But so email, I mean, you're going to get like a 20% open rate. 3% of your people are going to click on it. But remember, it's not volume that matters. It's that one person who clicks on it that matters. Because that one person you're going to be able to see click through it weekly and become more attached to what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, one client, lifetime client value, right? Might be worth $5,000-$10,000. So it's like, is it worth reaching out to 500 to get one? Well, yeah, that makes it worth it.
That's true. The other big one right now is, like, if you use Messenger, you can create subscriber lists on Messenger, and then when you drop new episodes, you send them in Messenger. And now the people, like 95% of the people look at Messenger because they get that stupid red dot on their phone. They want it to go away, so they're going to open it, click it, and check it out. So Messenger's a big one because then you can send, like, instead of an email list or an email newsletter, you can send a Messenger newsletter, and all the people are going to open that.
Yeah.
We don't know how effective or annoying it is yet, but you'll find out over time if people complain or whatever when you stop doing it. Or yeah.
One of the things that you talk about too is even if you started and you've nailed all this stuff, it's going to take 6 months, 9 months.
Yeah. It's a building.
It's a long-term plan.
That's the season.
That's why so many gyms struggle because they don't know what they're supposed to do, and they're not consistent when they start, so that they never actually get, like, the motor running. You got a question?
Yeah, I kind of have 2 things, I guess. The first thing is, so when you're taking a lot of that content and making it into different traffic areas for other pieces of content, are you just hoping that, like, another person clicks on that and the person that didn't originally listen to your podcast is then going to be annoyed that they've already listened to you via podcast? You know what I'm saying? Like, is it just to capture other people versus?
It's to basically. So what's going to happen is people are going to listen to the whole. You're going to have a couple different types of fans. You're going to have, like, the raving fan, who literally pays attention to everything you do. They watch all your videos, listen to all your podcasts, and they heart you. And then you're going to have, like, the casual fan. So the cash fan is going to be someone who's, like, they listen to most of your podcasts, but they don't really pay attention. And then they go back and they see your videos and they're like, I didn't see that on the podcast. And they listen to it. So it's not that it's annoying. It's just that you're trying to, you know that they're going to be distracted in the long form. So then you're going to, to get rid of their distractions with your shorter form stuff. And they're going to actually watch the whole thing. Usually they don't remember that they even listened to it. So when they watch it, it's a whole new experience for them. Or they do remember, and they're like, wow, that was a really good point. I don't remember listening to this. So usually it's not a matter of like being annoying and repetitive. It's a matter of we're being repetitive because people are busy and they forget what we're doing.
Okay. And then my second question, and I'm sorry because I missed like the first 20 minutes of this, but I was just curious when it comes to like creating this, like with like the podcast, you
Right.
know, everything. Like, where do you start? Where is your?
Yeah, if I was going to start a podcast, all I would do is go to SoundCloud. And I would just record it right on SoundCloud, and then it's there. And you can download it off if you want. What we do, because we want video out of it, is I'll prop my phone like that, and I'll just click record, and then we'll sit down or walk or do whatever, and we'll record the podcast right there. One thing I did have to do was start getting mics and stuff, because people first thing they'll complain about is the sound. So we have to make sure that's nice. So that's why we use this works really well. Or I have a Yeti mic too that will connect to the computer if we really want good sound. It's like universal circular sound. But if you just get one of these, plug it into your phone, set yourself up like 18 inches from the phone, you'll have really good sound. Then you'll be able to pop it on iMovie. You can even enhance the sound from there and then put it down and put it on SoundCloud. Create a podcast from there. It's the hardest part about creating a podcast is actually getting Apple Podcasts to work with you correctly. Like SoundCloud is easy; it'll be on there within a couple of minutes. But then you have to like create artwork for it that's 3,000 by 3,000, and Apple has to say that's okay, and they'll finally approve it. If a word's spelled wrong, then they'll disapprove it. So you just have to make sure, like, go to like Apple Podcasts and get the parameters and make sure everything's organized in the perfect way for it. Or just keep it on SoundCloud. But when you think about it, 90% of your demographic is going to be paying attention to Apple Podcasts, not SoundCloud. But in other terms too, like SoundCloud is good because if someone's like an Android user, they're not going to have Apple Podcasts. So this is an alternative platform. Like for my
Works for everybody, yeah.
podcast, there's probably 90% of my downloads are on Apple Podcasts, but then I have like that small subset who has Android phones.
Ricky.
SoundCloud. Yeah, Ricky.
From your experience, do you feel like it's easier, or is it better for the audience, or is it easier for you to have someone to talk to versus just being the only person talking about something? Like, is it more engaging?
I think it depends on your personality. So, like, we work with a bunch of Mad Labs when we organize the stuff around the personality. We just did one, and one of the segments we created, the guy he's really good at, like, stories and talking to people and engaging with people. So his segment was find someone in the gym, tell a 1-minute story, and just have a conversation. Then another guy's like, well, I wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm kind of motivational to rock in the gym. So his is just talk to the camera and be motivational. Give people something to be happy about. So if you're the conversationalist, if you have stories about everybody, if you know everybody and you make friends wherever you're at, you're going to be the one who we want engaging and talking to people on camera as a conversation. And then in addition to that, you should be telling like member stories. So sit down with, I think you guys do a good job with that at Oak Street. Adam has his little segment. What's it called? The Oak Life Show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they sit down and he has a conversation with the member like once a week where they're just back and forth. And it's funny, he makes it engaging and exciting. So member stories are big because people watching it will see that and they'll feel like it's normal people talking and not crazy people with big pecs. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Anything else?
Whoever is on here, you guys can write a question if you're paying attention.
Yeah. Well, I hope that was helpful, guys. I do, does everybody follow all the stuff I put out? I put out like a video every single day, and at least a blog once a week on all my Chance Logic stuff.
You put it up there.
So it's...
Yeah.
So it's facebook.com/Chance Logic. My blog is But then if you just search on YouTube for Chan's Logic, you won't find it. I think my YouTube is. It's the longest YouTube account in the history of the world.
Chandler Walker SAF. You guys can't read that. Facebook.com, Chan's Logic, chanslogic.com, YouTube.com/Chandler Walker SAF. What's SAF? Oh, Stone Age Fuel.
Stone Age Fuel. So then my podcast is just Chan's Logic on Apple Podcasts and SoundCloud.com/Chan's Logic if you guys aren't on iPhones or Apple products. I'm pretty much everywhere. I have an Instagram and all that stuff too. So it's exciting. Is everybody here on Facebook, Instagram, all the things? So yeah, I put out, you'll see what I do. It's just, I have a podcast and I'll cut that up into clips and I do everything that I talk about here. So it's a good way just to watch and pay attention to what it looks like in practice. The Instagram is, it's not competitive. It's just, the average person just wants to be entertained. They want to feel special and they want to feel connected to. So that's why we organize everything around like our strengths and personalities and conversations with coaches. There has to be a plan of action for the whole thing to make it work. And other coaches might think we're great, but the client who watches the intricate analysis of the second phase of the second part of the snatch pull and why it goes around the knee versus behind the knee, the average person just like, I don't know what that means. So they just like tune out and then they see a snatch and a barbell, so they get scared and they run away. But if you can educate them and make them laugh and make them feel connected, even if they do see the barbell and they saw that person who had the realization moment, they're going to be more likely to be like, hey, they have barbells, but I trust them already. They don't look like crazy people. They speak to me. They talk about what I'm feeling, thinking, and that's what makes me want to come in. Like the clients, before they come in, they have no idea what good technique is or what a good movement looks like, and they don't really care. They just want to feel good about themselves. And they want to go to a place to where they feel like they can fit into. So everything you do has to showcase like the culture in your social media has to be the culture inside your business too. So everything has to portray everything, because if it's different on social and it's different from like in the gym, then they're going to walk in and it's going to be a culture shock because they're expecting to see these people and these things happening and then they don't. And then they're like, well, this isn't what I was expecting. And that's kind of how you.
And that's the essence of trust-based marketing. Right? Is that it's got to be real, because if it's not consistent, then people really that change. I know they talk about it. Start with Why, the book. Is that if kind of what you say you're doing or kind of like what what your shtick is not what really is happening, that will make you lose customers faster than anybody.
Yeah,
that's amazing by being incongruent.
I always put be real and be human. So everything you put out, you always have to ask yourself when you're doing your strategic planning: is what I'm putting out like realistic? Or am I just showcasing perfect people doing perfect things with no problems? Because that doesn't exist in the world. And is it humanizing us? Does it make us look like we're people with personalities? And we have people in our gyms with different personalities. And do those people speak to the problems that they have? That's how you establish a humanistic brand that people want to follow and a brand that people really care about. So when you see the brands that have like this cult-like following, it's because they showcase their humanity and their realism and all that stuff.
Yeah, I know Gord was talking about that up in Canada. Hey, Gord, if you're watching this video, he was saying that one day he had a really bad day and he was at the grocery store and he had like a tub of ice cream and like some candy bars and he was like, I'm going ham today, a terrible day. Some days you're on, some days you're off. And he just did an Instagram picture and it was like 4 times more popular than anything else he's ever posted.
That's real, because they see it and they're like, he's a fitness coach and he has bad days? That's so cool, because I have bad days and I thought I was the only one. Yeah. So then that's like the inspirational stuff, like what Gord put out. That's an inspirational thing right there. You're telling people that you're validating their problems. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, you have the problem, I have the problem. Like, both of us have this. We both struggle.
To make it sound or to feel real, but still get people to take action, do you still have a call to action, even on like an inspirational video?
I won't put a call to action on anything. that I put out in terms of like daily content. I'll have a call to action running to the same audience in the background. That's like a different piece. That's like, we call it like a dark post, so they don't see it on your wall or anything, but it's consistently running every day to that audience. Well, they see your content, because what happens is, if like you have a motivational video and then at the bottom it says, "Come try this out and join now," it's not real.
Right,
It's like
yeah.
they're being sold.
So then how do you kind of like end?
So when I end the video, I'd be like, "Hey, this channel, I had a really quick thought. I just want to tell you guys blah, 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 blah." And then at the end, "Hey, thank you so much for watching. Just pay attention. I'm going to be doing another piece tomorrow." Or, "Hey, there was a podcast that I talked about that you can go check out that has the same ideas." Or you can just end it with, "Hey, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate the fact that you're paying attention." And then that's the end. And then it'll usually go out
On our blog posts, I've been putting, a link at the bottom below. Everything just says, "Hey, if you want to find more information on our programs, click here." Is that okay on a blog post?
Yeah, because then they'll see it. And like our blog posts have, what we have is like at the bottom is like, "Download our prescription for a great life," and they can get it for free or whatever.
And then that's yeah.
Yeah.
And you're dripping into that.
Yeah. So you have to think like, people don't want to be sold. They don't want to feel like they're being sold to, but when they're ready, you can ask them and they'll do it. And so we just have to warm them up enough to be ready with the daily content and then the call to action running in the background.
Great question. I do a lot of Facebook Lives,
Mm-hmm.
and I know you do YouTubes. Like, what do you have like a ratio of one to the other that you do?
So lately, all my Facebook Lives are on YouTube Live as well,
Okay.
and Periscope.
Okay.
The cool thing I do like about YouTube Live, if you have a decent subscriber base, is as soon as you go live, it emails every single person who's subscribed to that you're live, which is huge. Facebook will push it in their algorithm and say like so-and-so's live, and then you're capturing different audiences. So you're capturing your YouTube crowd, you're capturing your Facebook crowd, and if you're doing Periscope, and if you get crazy with it and run the same live on different platforms at the same time, you have to have like software for it. Crowdcast is a pretty good platform. I think it's like $89 a month.
Okay.
But you can live from Periscope to Facebook to YouTube at the same time. Like when we do the Mad Lab lives, we use it.
Is that the only way to do that? Is through software?
Yeah, I mean,
I guess you could have like multiple cell phones set up.
you could have like a computer for YouTube Live, a cell phone for Instagram Live, a cell phone for Facebook Live, and all just running at the same time if you did have it. That would be the alternative. The software is it's super easy. It just costs money. But if you're prioritizing, I would just run Facebook Live.
Yeah.
'Cause you can download those too, right?
Yeah. But you can download your Facebook Live off of there, put it on YouTube, put it on your podcast, put pieces on Instagram and all that stuff.
Okay.
So just move one to the other.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't want to get super complicated because then you just won't do it.
Right, exactly.
Cool, guys.
All right. Hopefully that was educational.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for joining us, and
Thanks, everybody.
we'll see you next video.
Yeah.
Go to Chan's Logs. No, I'm just kidding. We just talked about that. Don't do that.
Yeah.
We'll
If you have
just
questions, just post them in the comments. We'll answer these after the fact as well.
later.
See ya.